agents, don't move!
Agent Rivera, you are under arrest for conspiracy and corruption.
This morning, federal agents executed a warrant at the Santa Vista Border Patrol Station uncovering an extensive betrayal. 89 sworn agents charged with aiding a cartel in a $2.1 billion conspiracy. No one is above the law, especially those entrusted to.
We have recovered $2.1 billion from the cartel, and we are arresting 89 suspects here.
We're going to start with FBI agents busy this morning, arresting nearly a dozen Bay Area officers for crimes ranging from violating suspect civil rights to obstruction of justice.
January 15th, 4:47 a.m. Inside an unmarked FBI surveillance van parked 2 blocks from the McAllen Border Patrol Station in Texas, Special Agent Marcus Chen pressed his headphones tight against his ears. For 18 months, he'd been listening to wiretaps. 18 months of gathering evidence. And in 3 minutes, everything would come crashing down. On his screen, he watched infrared cameras tracking 89 homes across the Rio Grande Valley. At each location, FBI tactical teams waited in darkness, waiting for his signal, waiting to arrest 89 United States Border Patrol agents who'd been on the Sinaloa Cartel's payroll for 6 years. 89 federal law enforcement officers who'd taken an oath to defend America's borders, then sold that oath for cash. All of them working together to move $2.1 billion in drugs across the border they were sworn to protect. This wasn't just corruption. This was systematic betrayal operating at a scale that made Chen's stomach turn. The commander, Miguel Vasquez, a 22-year Border Patrol veteran with commendations for bravery, had built a criminal empire inside a federal law enforcement agency. He'd recruited agents one by one. The cartel paid $2.3 million every month. That money was divided among 89 agents who decided their badge was for sale. So the corruption continued. The drugs kept flowing. And the cartels laughed at American border security while paying Border Patrol agents to hold the gates open. Until a second whistleblower contacted the FBI, an agent who couldn't live with what he was seeing, who risked everything to bring down the network. And now, after 18 months of investigation, the hammer was about to fall. Can the FBI arrest 89 corrupt federal agents before they destroy evidence and flee to Mexico? Hit like, comment, and subscribe before we reveal the largest Border Patrol corruption case in American history. The investigation, 1:45 to 4:30. It started in July 2024 with a phone call. Agent David Martinez, a 12-year Border Patrol veteran stationed in McAllen, called the FBI's San Antonio field office from a payphone in Houston because he knew his station commander had cartel connections that could track him anywhere. Corruption claims against Border Patrol weren't uncommon. The cartels regularly tried to bribe agents, but most agents reported the attempts. The idea that an entire station, over 80 agents, could be compromised seemed impossible. Then Martinez sent evidence. Photos of cash stacks in the station commander's office, screenshots of encrypted messages between Vasquez and cartel coordinators, GPS coordinates for 12 tunnels that Border Patrol had somehow never discovered, despite operating directly above them, bank records showing agents depositing $30,000 to $80,000 in cash monthly while earning $60,000 annual salaries. Chen realized this wasn't a wild conspiracy theory. This was real, and it was massive. The FBI opened a classified investigation codenamed Operation Broken Shield. No one at Border Patrol was informed. No one in local law enforcement was told. The investigation was run entirely from FBI headquarters, with agents brought in from other states specifically because they had no connections to the Rio Grande Valley. The strategy was sophisticated. FBI installed wiretaps on Commander Vasquez's phones, all 3 of them, including the encrypted phone he thought was secure. They planted cameras in the station parking lot. They recruited Martinez as a confidential informant and equipped him with recording devices. And then they did something bold. They sent in an undercover DEA agent posing as a corrupt Border Patrol agent looking to make money. The agent, who we'll call Rodriguez, had been undercover in cartel operations for 8 years, the kind of guy who'd sell his badge for cash. The FBI created an entire false identity for him. fake personnel file, fake disciplinary history showing he'd been fired from another BP sector for inappropriate conduct, fake financial records showing gambling debts. In October 2024, Rodriguez applied for a transfer to McAllen. Commander Vasquez personally interviewed him, and during that interview, Rodriguez dropped hints that he was open to making extra money. Vasquez took the bait. Within 2 weeks, Rodriguez was recruited into the corruption network. He was told the rules. Disable your body camera during certain shifts, ignore sensors going off in specific zones, never patrol certain areas without permission. For this, he'd earn $50,000 monthly in cash. Rodriguez wore a wire to every meeting. For 16 months, he recorded conversations with Vasquez, with other corrupt agents, and even with cartel coordinators who sometimes met directly with agents at restaurants near the border. The recordings were damning, agents joking about how much money they were making, Vasquez bragging about building the perfect system where corruption was so normalized that honest agents either joined or left. But the most shocking evidence came from the agents' own body cameras. Border Patrol policy required cameras to be worn and activated during all operations. Most corrupt agents disabled theirs, but some forgot. And the footage captured everything. Agents opening gates to let drug loads through, agents disabling sensors and cameras at tunnel entrances, agents literally escorting vehicles packed with cocaine through checkpoints while waving away inspection procedures. In one video, Commander Vasquez himself is seen at a tunnel entrance at 2 a.m., directing cartel members on where to position vehicles. The tunnel opening is clearly visible. The drugs are clearly visible, and a U.S. Border Patrol Station commander is clearly helping smugglers. By December 2025, the FBI had evidence on 89 agents. They had bank records showing over $47 million in unexplained cash deposits. They had wiretaps documenting thousands of conversations about drug loads, bribe payments, and tunnel operations. They had Agent Rodriguez's testimony about being personally recruited into corruption, and they had the agent's own body camera footage showing them committing federal crimes. The only question left? How do you arrest 89 federal agents simultaneously before they can destroy evidence, warn each other, or flee to Mexico, where cartel protection waited? January 15th, 5 a.m. The signal went out. Across the Rio Grande Valley, FBI tactical teams moved simultaneously on 89 homes. At 5:02 a.m., Agent David Martinez, the whistleblower who'd risked everything, was in protective custody at an FBI safe house. Justice was finally coming. At Commander Vasquez's house in an upscale McAllen neighborhood, FBI agents breached the front door with a battering ram. Vasquez was in his office, destroying evidence. His computer screen showed files being deleted. Documents were being fed into a shredder. Encrypted phones were submerged in water, but it was too late. FBI had cloned his drives weeks ago. Everything was backed up. The evidence was secured. He didn't resist. He just stared at them with the expression of a man who'd always known this day might come. On his desk, $240,000 in cash, rubber-banded in stacks. In his safe, another $800,000 plus ledgers documenting 6 years of payments from the Sinaloa Cartel. In his garage, a Porsche, a Mercedes, and a Range Rover. Vehicles that a $95,000 per year Border Patrol commander shouldn't be able to afford. At the McAllen Border Patrol Station, FBI agents arrived just as the morning shift was reporting for duty. Agents walking into the building were immediately detained. Some tried to run. Others surrendered quietly. A few actually reached for weapons until FBI agents made clear that resistance would end badly. Within 20 minutes, 37 agents were in custody at the station itself. Across the valley, similar scenes played out at agents' homes. FBI teams found evidence everywhere. Cash hidden in attics, drugs stored in garages, cartel communications on personal phones, tunnel maps, sensor schedules, patrol routes marked with safe times for drug runs. At one house, agents found $2.1 million in cash stacked in a bedroom. The agent, a 9-year BP veteran, had been making $120,000 monthly from the cartel. He'd bought 3 rental properties, a boat, luxury cars, and had sent his kids to private schools. His wife claimed she didn't know where the money came from. Bank records suggested otherwise. At another location, agents arrested a female Border Patrol agent who'd been recruited into the network just 6 months earlier. She was sobbing, claiming Vasquez had threatened to hurt her children if she didn't cooperate. FBI agents found texts on her phone proving she'd been enthusiastically participating, including messages where she asked for bonus payments after helping move a particularly large drug load. By 7 a.m., all 89 agents were in custody. Not one escaped, not one destroyed enough evidence to matter. The operation was flawless. On February 3, 2026, President Trump visited the reconstructed McAllen Border Patrol Station. He met with the honest agents who'd been transferred in to replace the corrupt ones. He met with Agent Martinez, shaking his hand and calling him a true American hero who risked everything for what was right. Then he addressed the nation. What happened here in McAllen is a stain on federal law enforcement. 89 agents betrayed their oath, but they were caught, they were prosecuted, and they will spend decades in prison. Let this serve as a message to anyone in law enforcement who thinks their badge is for sale. You will be found, you will be arrested, and you will face justice. He continued, but let this also serve as a message to the cartels. Your money cannot buy America's border. For every corrupt agent you recruit, there are thousands of honest agents who will hunt you down. Your tunnels will be destroyed, your networks will be dismantled, and your operatives will spend their lives in American prisons. Operation Broken Shield changed Border Patrol forever. New recruits now undergo extensive financial background checks. Random integrity tests became standard. Agents working in high-risk areas face regular polygraphs. And most importantly, whistleblower protections were strengthened so that honest agents could report corruption without fear of retaliation. The FBI created a permanent Border Patrol oversight unit, 50 agents dedicated solely to investigating corruption in border agencies. Their message was clear: we're watching, we're listening, and corruption will be rooted out. For Commander Vasquez, life in a Supermax prison meant 23 hours daily in an 8x10 cell. No visitors except attorneys, no contact with other inmates, complete isolation for the rest of his life. The man who'd made $28 million betraying his oath would spend eternity contemplating his choices. The 89 corrupt agents were scattered across federal prisons nationwide, separated from each other, isolated from general population for their own protection, because even in prison, there's a code. And cops who go dirty are considered the lowest form of inmate. But perhaps the most powerful outcome was what didn't happen. The corruption was exposed, prosecuted, and eliminated without destroying faith in the thousands of honest Border Patrol agents who serve with integrity daily. Americans learned that yes, corruption exists, but so does justice. Bad agents were caught. Good agents were protected. The system worked. As the sun set over the border on February 3rd, the new agents at McAllen Station stood watch. They knew what had happened there. They knew about the betrayal. And they knew that their job was to prove that the badge meant something, that the oath wasn't for sale, that America's borders would be defended by those who couldn't be bought. Commander Vasquez had built a criminal empire inside a federal agency. He'd corrupted 89 agents. He'd moved $2.1 billion in drugs. He'd thought he was untouchable. But one honest agent made a phone call. The FBI spent 18 months building a case, and in one morning, the entire corrupt network was destroyed. If you believe these stories of justice must be told, stories showing that corruption will always be exposed, then like this video, subscribe to Busted, and share this with someone who needs to understand that the vast majority of law enforcement serves with honor, and those who don't will face consequences. Because America's borders are defended by heroes who can't be bought. And for those who try to sell their oath, justice is inevitable.